Welcome to another episode of To the Sky. I have
Ooh.
my guest with me, Ravenne here. Can you please introduce yourself to the people?
I'm Ravenne, third year at BCT, so hopefully graduate this year.
Hmm,
Yeah,
congratulations. Well, I mean, I imagine it's gonna happen, right? I imagine it's gonna happen.
hopefully.
So there's no doubt. How was a school like? How was uni like during the shutdown or during the crisis? How was it for you?
It was like it was really confusing at first because they were starting to propose like a different idea of like block learning, and I was like,
Mm.
oh, I don't know if I want to do that. And then they changed it, and then I was like, I don't know what's going on. But when they did like come back, it was alright. It worked.
Okay. I mean, in terms of like graduating is not gonna impact it. Like you're still gonna be able to do semester two and finish by the end of this year, so it's not going to get pushed like to something like next.
Nah, so I think we're still starting on when we were supposed to start, like semester two.
Oh, cool, 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 cool.
Yeah. So they just got rid of the mid-sim break and just did
Mm.
straight. Yeah.
All right, so this is the question I always like to ask everyone who comes on here. Are you always learning?
I I'd say so, yeah. I mean, there's always like something new every day, like especially now that we all have like access to the internet, there's always something new to learn and everything is so easy to access now.
So you say that you accessed the internet for learning. What did
Mhm.
you learn recently? What's one thing you can tell us?
I learned that baby owls actually sleep like face down because their head
Ah,
is too heavy for them to carry, so they just like
is
off
that
on the ground.
true? Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's like me when I learned how giraffes sleep. You know, they kind of sleep on their backside because their head is so long. They don't just kind of lay it down flat. They kind of
Oh yeah.
snake all their way to their back. So that's where they put their head.
Yeah, I never thought how. Yeah.
That's pretty
Oh.
cool. Can you let us know a little bit about like your work or your project or what are you doing at BCT? What are you focusing on?
So our last project was on. It's called Keyboard. It's on. So during the lockdown, we realized that lots of students, like high school students, don't actually have access to like laptops and internet.
Mm, mm,
So we were thinking of a way to like loan these students laptops and building a business model on that and how we can help them in the future if something like this does happen
mm,
again, or just in general like providing them with laptops to do their work.
mm. In this project, what did you focus on? Were you Yeah, can you explain
Um,
a little bit about that? Yeah.
so I was focused on like doing a bit of research on what schools were requiring like would require the service. So we were looking at high schools that were decile 3 and below. Yeah. And then I was in charge of making the website for it as a sort of, if we were to make it like a real business venture, then like schools could access the website and see what it's about, and students as well, and then they can sign up on it, and if they want to be like part of the whole service thing.
What did
Yeah.
you what did you learn? Like, have you spoken to any schools or any institution about your idea?
We've talked to a person who works at the Southern Initiative because he was one of he works with lots of schools in South Auckland. I
Mm,
think Manurewa High is one of them. So we were emailing him about stuff that he knows, like any statistics about the students, and he told us that 35% 35% of the students in Manurewa High didn't have access to the laptop or the internet during the lockdown, so they weren't able to finish or like continue with their studies during the lockdown.
So there's a real need for these
Yeah,
students who
yeah,
just who had not or who had no access to school or learning during the
yeah.
lockdown.
Mm.
Hmm. So I kind of want to go back to what you mentioned about you're building the website for this project. Is that the thing you're interested about? Are you interested in the coding and that side of it?
recently got interested in it because I'm taking one of my electives now is web media, and
Mm,
so we like learn how to build like from scratch like HTML, CSS, and stuff, and it's pretty fun. And it's I think I actually have an idea for like a summer project that I want to do
mm,
based on like making a website. So
okay.
yeah,
What is its current state? Have you submitted this project?
yes.
Or is
So
that has you launched?
that was due last week.
Mm,
Yeah, and we've made so the website is up, but it's like not really fully functional. It's more informational rather than like actually working. But we've got a whole business model made and like some proposals if we were to present it to schools, which we hope to do in the future as
mm.
well.
So, I mean, are you planning to take this along to your second semester, or are you trying to take this idea
Um,
further?
we don't know. We haven't talked much about it yet, but it's something like we're considering it.
Mm,
But yeah, it depends because before the lockdown, our idea was to make an interactive installation because that's what we did last year for our end of sem project. But obviously with lockdown, we couldn't see each other and like
yeah.
make stuff physically. So yeah,
You
we had to just sort of take our idea of like how can we like still help people, but without being physically there. And that was just one of the ideas that came out of that.
do you want to talk a little bit about your interactive installation? What was it about? What was the idea behind it?
Yeah, sure. It was called Tessellite, and it's like this big wall. It took up the width of the wall in the senior studio, and basically it's an installation to activate public spaces, so like spaces that weren't really used by people, like people just walk past it and that's it. But we wanted because there's lots of spaces like that in the city, especially.
I imagine.
Yeah, so we're just trying to like find a way how to invite people more into space that would need it. And so yeah, it's motion activated, so whenever it senses movement it would light up and there would be like sounds going on it as well.
Okay. That's
I can send a it's pretty hard to explain, but I
yeah,
can
no,
send
no,
a
I mean,
I think
that's
there's a
okay.
video of it somewhere.
Yeah. Um, at the end, you can send all the media that you would like me to post along with this episode, and we'll have it out there. Um,
Yeah.
across these two projects, what did you learn from out of it? Like, what was the thing that I guess that you wish you knew at the beginning when you were starting the project?
I think in both of the projects it took us quite a while to really narrow the ideas down to like what it was, and so we always kind of ended up like in the end like rushing everything. We're like, okay, now we have this idea solid and it's we only have like a couple weeks to go, so it's like go, go, go.
That's honestly, that I understand that.
Yeah.
I also did BCT, and one of the biggest issue that I noticed, I think I did also experience it at some point, is when you're doing your research, you tend to pivot your final solution,
Mm,
right? Um,
yeah.
but every time the more you research, the more you pivot again, and it feels like you're
Mm,
pivoting so much that you don't even have a final solution. And
yeah.
uh, I guess, do you wish that you knew earlier what you wanted to do? Is that kind of
I
what
think
you want to
I wish we
happen?
had more time, but we couldn't really like know that idea sooner.
Yep.
Yeah, it's always a process of like, oh, we want to do this, and then you keep going. You're like, oh, but actually, that's not as strong as we thought it would be. So maybe we'll change it. And yeah,
Were you prototyping throughout all of this? Were you doing projects, or was this kind of
um,
all research based idea?
I think we were prototyping a bit, and then they were working, but we're like, oh, but it's not that strong. It
Hmm.
needs something else,
I think that
and
is
that took
probably
a while.
I think that's probably the best advice for that kind of scenario is just to keep trying it out and see what
Mm,
sticks.
yeah.
And I guess getting not too attached to an original idea. I was
Yeah.
definitely a
Yeah.
victim of that. Hmm. Hmm. Um. Okay, now we want to talk about your hobby. So, like, I guess you said that you're planning to build a new website during the summer. Is that what you mentioned?
Yeah. So like it was during the lockdown I like ended up reading quite more than like usual
Awesome.
because like yeah I kind of stopped that a while. I really like the idea of like storytelling and like preserving stories and sharing ideas to people. So I was thinking of making a website based on like people's stories during the lockdown to
Hmm.
kind of like like not commemorate but like as a reminder of like that time, and then you kind of like look back and be like, oh, that's what I did during lockdown. And, oh,
Hmm.
that's my what my friends did and stuff. So
Okay. So, I guess
like
what kind of video? Well, sorry, what kind of format are you trying people to capture?
uh
Painting,
like an
voices?
interactive website, and then like I'd have I'm imagining like I'd have like an illustration of something, and then once you click an item that relates to what that person's story was
Hmm.
kind of about, then like their video would pop up. But
Okay.
yeah.
And so I guess you said the final outcome is like a video montage of something that could explain what they did in the lockdown. Is that kind of
Yeah,
what
so
it is?
I'm planning to ask people to send in like videos of themselves, like just like 1 to 2 minutes long, and then I'll collect the stories and like find a way to fit them all in like one or two like scene, I
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
guess.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And then yeah, sort
that's
of
good.
collect them all.
I,
Like a museum, like art gallery kind of thing. Yeah.
I really appreciate that because there's so many things that happened during the lockdown, and I know there's some people that was hurt by the lockdown, but now we're
Mm,
coming out and people learned, people grew during the lockdown,
yeah,
and
yeah.
if if this ever comes out, let us know. We will put it out through our channels as well because
Yeah, well, that'll
I
be cool, yeah.
yeah I think this is a fantastic idea to give a people a solid reflection on what happened during the
Mm,
lockdown or give them some sort of memorabilia of what happened during their time during the lockdown.
yeah, yeah.
I think that's pretty cool. Um,
Thank you.
um, can you tell me a little bit about the books you were reading? What kind of books or titles were you
I
reading?
was just catching up on books that like started reading and then like stopped halfway.
Mm. Oh,
So I finished Crazy Rich Asians finally.
yeah.
Yeah, that was yeah.
I uh I
Just
started
like a bunch of novels.
That's good because honestly I started reading again.
Mm.
I haven't read a novel properly what it feels like since I was in high school.
Yeah, same. That's why I was like, wait, I
And
kind of missed that.
I really missed that and I just went ahead and started buying. My favorite author is a person called Matthew Riley. He's an Australian guy who's super like the one that I'm reading. His series is kind of like Indiana Jones and I kind of like that
Oh,
adventure stuff. Hmm. Hmm.
that's cool. Yeah.
Um, what would be your advice to, let's say, students entering BCT or to students who wants to pursue the kind of career you're going for? What would you tell them?
Ooh, I feel like I need that advice too.
No,
But
you're a role model now. You're a role model now. We all look up to you.
um, it's always uncertain when you're in BCT, like
Mm,
because
mm,
it's so open and like basically like, you can do whatever you want. You're like, well, I don't know what I want to do.
mm,
But I think embrace that uncertainty and then just try whatever they offer you. Like I know first year studios always like, you're making this like a week before, and then now you're making this, and it's like it doesn't make sense. It kind of like sometimes it kind of feels like you're doing like arts and crafts, but like it's really helpful because like first year I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was just like, I'll just go with the flow
mm,
and do
mm,
what everyone does. But once we started learning coding, physical computing, like
mm,
I realized that I actually really liked coding and like making stuff like from the like typing code and then seeing like, oh, the LED lights up. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Yeah.
I think
So
there's nothing better than just exploring and
yeah.
realizing that, oh, I actually think this thing is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I 100% agree. A lot of people tend
Mm,
to be confused or not understand why they're trying all this kind of different techniques throughout
mm,
VCT, but being able to explore, being able to try new things, I think really helps you narrow down or even understand yourself a little bit better.
yeah.
And I think,
So yeah, it's I mean, you're always gonna feel uncertain. I feel like no matter what degree,
mm,
it's always gonna feel uncertain. Maybe even more in BCT,
yep,
but I feel like it's good. It's good to be able to like explore. I feel like we are allowed to like explore more than other courses
mm,
because
mm.
we can like touch on like everything, kind of. Yeah.
Honestly, that's one of my favorite. I ended up doing a lot more sorry, coding kind of stuff since I
Mm.
left uni. But one time I did a project with some of my friends, then classmate. Um, I got to write. I got to write like a 3 minute video, and it was the best thing.
Oh.
I'm not super into that, but it was one of the
Mm.
fun things that I enjoyed. And now I'm getting back into this kind of series. I want to do more stuff with the camera. I think.
Oh, yeah, we're here now.
Yeah, we're here now, and I thought that yeah, it's pretty cool. I think it's an interesting idea with the editing and
Mm.
all that stuff. So it's good to experience that.
Yeah.
Um, what is your current situation? I mean, in terms of uh, I guess opportunity or work or collaboration. What would you like to say to the people who's watching?
Hire me. uh,
Mm,
I'm open to like collaborations right now and like jobs as well. Like
mm,
just trying to build my like proper career CV now
mm,
and trying to put all the projects that I've worked on, and I want to do more like installation kind of stuff and like storytelling.
mm.
Yeah, so
Okay.
something along those lines.
Yeah. So I guess I'd like to. I'd like to ask you to elaborate a little bit more because so what would this career look like? I mean, what would be your day to day? So you said installation, so you want to be part of building cool projects and stuff like that for the public.
Yeah, I think yeah, I like more like public installation.
Mm,
I like because during showcase I really enjoyed seeing like people's reactions of when they interacted with our thing.
yeah,
So then getting to like answer questions about it, it's kind of like scary, but it was fun.
that's good. That's awesome. Um, well, what does success look like to you? What is it? Yeah, what does success look like to you?
I think well that's hard.
I know, sorry, it's not in the
um
questions, but let's ask it anyway, right?
yeah. um I think seeing um the purpose of what you're doing come true. So like again with the installation for last
Mm,
sim, our purpose was just to activate the space, and we had like this big space in front of the wall, and like usually during showcase people just walk around, but
mm.
that time we actually saw like quite a bit of traffic in that area and we're like, oh. So yeah, that was good. It worked, and that was like after all that stress and all that time planning and be like, oh, is it gonna work, is it not gonna work, and seeing it actually work. I think yeah, success to me would be seeing the purpose of the thing and like why you did it, and you're like, ah yes, this is why.
That is well said, and I think there's nothing better than when you are speaking about how you're affecting others.
Mm,
I think that speaks volumes in what you're trying to achieve and what you want to be or want to become, I guess. Um,
yeah.
well, where can people find you? Do you have a space or your blog? This is why you make your own blogs.
Yeah, I have my blog, but
Mm,
I don't actually go on it much except when I have uni, but
It's still enough.
I've got a yeah, I've got a LinkedIn so that I can send you that. Yeah, still
Yep,
working on it now, but
all,
yeah.
all good. Twitter or Instagram, any of those?
Yeah, but there's not like much work
That's okay
there, so
because you are now gonna start filling it out, I imagine, right?
yeah.
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 Can you say it? Can you say the names or say the name of your blogs or say the name
Yeah,
of your
so my
LinkedIn?
blog is just Ravenne dash BCT
Mm, great.
tumblr.com. Yeah, I'll send you the link.
Yep, yep. How about your LinkedIn?
It's the LinkedIn link. Is it linkedin.com
Yep.
slash Ravenne?
Mm.
Yeah, that's it.
And you said your Twitter and Instagram. You said working on it, but it's gonna come up there.
Yeah, so my Instagram is just at that's so Ravenne, but yeah, nothing there.
That's okay. That's okay. Um, I hope this was a cool experience for you. I hope you
Yeah, it
enjoyed.
was fun. Thank you. Thank you. I hope yeah, it's good. I like that you're doing this and like
Thank you.
because I think like whenever I talk with fellow BCT students, where I was like, I wonder what like the graduates are doing right now. Like, are they like are they continuing with BCT like type
Mm,
projects, or are they
mm.
just doing other things? And it's cool to see you guys again.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is part of the reason why I wanted to do this because I feel like there's so much disconnect between the learning or sorry, our times at
Mm,
uni and now, when you're in the real world or when you're working.
yeah,
And I want to help, and kind of bridge that gap a little bit more and kind of showcasing you. And I imagine in 3 years' time when the new graduates come in and hopefully they're interested in what you're doing, they can hear from your experiences and hear from your projects. I think it'd be good for them to understand that a little bit more.
yeah.
Hmm. Um, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming on.
Oh, thank you.
Uh, I'm really, really happy that you decided to come on. Thank you.
All good. Thank you for the opportunity. So.
Um, bye.